Hi, it's Abby.
And I'm Emma.
And welcome to
the second episode of
You Can't Say That. But we're
gonna. Today's episode we're going to talk about
toxic relationships. Because we've all had them, we've all been there.
Yes.
And it was the most popular asked question. When we asked you guys what you wanted us to talk about, that's pretty much...
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple that were quite high, but this definitely took the lead.
Yeah.
I think it's a topic that a lot of girls want to talk about, want to hear about, and we have some fabulous experience in being in toxic relationships. So
Definitely.
What a good place to start.
Definitely.
So we're going to start with, we did some polls on our Instagram story. We asked, have you ever been in a toxic relationship? And 87% of people...
Was that what it was? 87?
Yeah, and that was answered by 55 people as well.
Wow.
So only 7 people have said no. So
you're lucky
you.
7 people.
Lucky you. I envy you because I've been in quite a few.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of people had. And looking through who's answered as well, the majority is women. I think there's 3 guys in there that answered.
Was there some guys in there?
Yeah, we've had some answers from some guys as well, which is really good. Like, it's interesting to get a view.
Yeah, we want feedback from guys.
But the guys had said yes, they had been in toxic relationships. It's not no, I haven't.
Yeah.
Like, they all have.
Because it's not all just the men, is it?
No, it's not.
Who are toxic.
It can be women as well.
Yeah.
Of course it can. The next question that we asked was, who was the toxic one? Now, this one was interesting because we had the same amount of votes. 62% of people said it was the other person, like they was toxic. 17 people,
was honest and said
so 38% said it was both of us.
Yeah.
We were both toxic. Which a lot of the time, in most cases, unless it's an abusive relationship, just a toxic relationship, like most cases, it is both people who can be quite
100%,
toxic.
but you obviously won't admit it when you're that side of the party.
Yeah, I mean, no one wants to admit that they're a toxic person or that they're, bad to another person. But a lot of the time, it's.
I would say every relationship I've been in has been toxic, bar one, which is why I'm obviously not in them relationships anymore.
Yeah.
But even the relationship I'm in now is definitely...
Is it toxic?
Yeah, 100%. Without, like, and that doesn't mean that necessarily it's a bad toxic.
No.
But it is definitely, definitely, I would say people on the outside looking in would probably be like, oh my God, you two should be together. But
it's different when you're
It's different, exactly. We've got kids together and we have had really toxic parts, but there's been good parts that have outweighed the bad parts.
And if you can come back from the bad parts and learn from it, then it's not such a bad thing. It's more of a learning experience. But
and what would you say is toxic as well? Like, what would people say is toxic?
So, I mean, my idea of toxic would be like controlling.
Yeah.
Arguing all the time.
Mental abuse, physical abuse, obviously.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely things like that. Abuse, mental abuse, controlling, putting you down.
Yeah. But even little things just like gaslighting is so toxic.
100%.
Like, a lot of people won't realise they actually are in a toxic relationship because they're being gaslighted, they're being made to believe. Like, gaslighting, for anybody who doesn't know, is basically when a person is manipulating you into believing what they're telling you happens. So say if I was to make you say, do you want a coffee? And I made you a tea. You said, oh Emma, I wanted a coffee. And I'm like, no, I said, do you want a tea? And to make you believe that, I'd be gaslighting you. So it's just little bits of manipulation, and it can be done so easily.
Without you even realising.
People don't even know it's happening. Mm-hmm. And if you don't even know what gaslighting is, you're not even looking. You're just thinking, I'm going nuts.
I'm going crazy. Maybe they are right.
Yeah. And you do it. Like, I've been there. I've literally questioned things that I've done and said and been like, did I do that?
Yeah, same.
Was that my fault? Like, did I cause that?
But maybe I am the one who's got a problem. Yeah. Maybe it is me.
And that is gaslighting. And it happens all the time. Not even in relationships. Like, it can be with anybody.
Friendships as well. Definitely. We'll definitely go into that in another pod, I think.
Yeah.
Friendships. Like toxic friendships, because people have a lot of them as well.
For sure. So the next question we asked, have you ever been physically abused? Which obviously that's not a nice question to ask, and it's not a nice question to answer.
Thank you to everyone's honesty.
Yeah. Nothing, no names are shared, anything like that. It's literally just for statistics and to give us an idea and to sort of feedback.
So we had 31 for yes?
Yeah. And 18 for no. So that's quite...
Yeah, that's
I mean,
good.
63% people have been physically abused. That's not good.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I think it's higher than that, really. I think a lot of people, I mean, I did notice a lot of people had answered the question before and they didn't answer this
Because
one.
people won't obviously want to.
They don't want to say.
Yeah.
I've been.
Because they're probably still with that person now.
They could be,
Like
or they could be not ready to talk about it, to
we
share
was
that.
talking about this the other day. Like when you've been in toxic relationships and you mention it to your friends or family, and people are like, "Why are you still with the person?
It's so hard.
Why haven't you left the person?" It is easier it's harder, to leave the person. It is to stay with them. Like you have to be a really, really strong person to get up and walk away from that situation. Like sometimes you feel safer.
Yeah, you
staying
do.
with the person.
Like I've been in a physically abused. Well, I've been in a few, but the one I'm specifically thinking of now, the abusive relationship where I was physically abused. I was terrified of him.
Yeah.
Like I did leave him 5 or 6 times. And I instantly went back because being with that person, I knew what I was getting. I knew where they were. Exactly. I was pleasing them. I was keeping them happy.
So
when I left, I was safe. I was safer.
Yeah.
When I left, I wouldn't stay in my house. I was terrified. He told me he was going to kill me if I left him, and I believed him.
Yeah, of course
I genuinely believed he would kill me.
Yeah.
I lost friendships because of it, because they would say, "You're actually making me like this is going into my life. I'm worried about you all the time. I can't be your friend if you're with this person. If this is the life you choose, I want you out of my life." And I was like, wow, like I don't think that's the right thing to do. It's not something I would ever do. But when I finally did leave that relationship, I ended up doing it through the police in the safest way possible. Like they gave me an exit plan. It was crazy.
What gave you the courage to go to the police in the end? Obviously, you said you.
So I'll say that. I'll tell you in a second. So. When I did leave, the police informed me, like, the next 4 weeks are the most dangerous now for you. You've left and you need to be fucking keeping yourself safe. Because when you do leave, that is the most dangerous part, like, them 4 weeks. But the thing that actually made me go to the police in the end is he gaslighted me to a point where I went to therapy because I believed I was the problem. He said, he was like, you need to get therapy because you're fucking mental. Thank God he made me do that.
Yeah, same.
I went to see a therapist, and funnily enough...
Well done for going to see a therapist, by the way, because no one really talks about that.
I've seen many.
Yeah,
I've seen many.
No one really talks about that, but that's such a good thing to talk about.
For
so
sure.
Well done for doing that.
Thank you.
Because I've had that situation before, and I've been like, I'm not the one who needs to go to a therapist.
No, I did. So I did go, and the lady, about 20 minutes in, we did this like whole board thing. 20 minutes in, she was like, I just have to tell you something. I actually... I'm very deeply involved in abuse for women and women's help groups and things like that. And she said, from what you've just told me in these 20 minutes, you are with an abuser, you're with a narcissist, you're being controlled, and you're actually in a lot of danger. And I want you to leave here and go straight to the police station.
Yeah. Oh
and
God,
I did.
Did she really?
Yeah, I did. I drove out of there and I went to the police station.
Wow.
It was crazy. It's really weird because I've not spoke about this in a long time, so I'm like reliving it a little bit.
I don't know any of this.
I went straight to the police station and reported everything he'd done. And he'd also
vandalized. That was so scary.
It was terrifying because I had him ringing me constantly. Like, fuck are you? Why aren't you back from counselling yet? And I was like, I'm at the police station, but I can't tell him that. So I was like trying to not answer the phone. The police come outside. They looked at my car, all the damage he'd done because he'd kicked the shit out. He chased me into my car once, and I had to lock myself in there with my dog because he was going to beat me up. And he'd like done all the side of the car, and so I told him he'd done this. So they reported it all as criminal damage. They took everything down, and they said, you need to leave him, but we need a safety plan for you because it's not safe for you to go home and leave him. So I had to then go back home, where he then came over and I had to pretend like therapy went well, like.
So were you living together at the time?
No, I had my own house, but he was there all the time. Like he would turn up unannounced when I was working. Like this was pre-Penelope. I didn't have a child at this point. So yeah, I made a safety plan with the police to leave, and in the end, like I did leave, and they prosecuted him. The CPR prosecuted him for criminal damage, for stalking. They took my phone. They arrested him, took his phone for physical abuse, like GBH, something like that. Like there was like 4 charges that he got charged with. He could have done prison time for that. He didn't. He went to court. I thought he was going to contest it, but he couldn't because they'd taken his phone. They'd got all the evidence downloaded from it. He had to plead guilty to everything.
Of course,
and I got given a restraining order, so he wasn't allowed within like my vicinity.
Did he plead to that?
Yeah, I've seen him once since in shop. I've never seen him since that. Only once. This was years ago now. But then they fined him. He said he couldn't afford it. So every month I received a £20 cheque from him for the criminal damage to my car and for the abuse. And that went on for I think like 2 years. He had to send me a £20 cheque every month. It was fucking weird. But yeah. So what was going back to like being in abusive relationships? Like that was probably my worst one, I'd say.
Yeah.
I've been in a couple since, and I've been in a couple before, but that was my most extreme one. That it changed my life.
It changes the way you are in the next relationship as well.
For sure.
Because I've been in one serious
toxic
relationship.
Like I have.
Again, with you, how to get away from him. This was when I was a lot younger. He was like my first proper boyfriend, I would say. I had to go to the police. I didn't tell my family or my friends how bad it was, and in the end, to get away from him, I thought I lost all my friends at the time, and I don't blame them because I obviously always chose him over because obviously
and they didn't know any different.
Yeah, you believe you're the one who's going to change them. You believe what they say. So I lost all my friends. Didn't tell my family. When it got really bad, I couldn't obviously go back home because I didn't want my family to see the state I was in. So I didn't tell my family. So in the end, I had to go to the police. And I remember my mum coming with me, and she sat in the police station with me when I was telling the lady all the stuff that he'd done to me, and she was like, bless her, I literally feel like it was so hot. I feel so bad for my mum. She must have been like, oh my God, like, why didn't you tell me? Like, she sat there in tears going, you went through all this, you didn't tell me. But at the time, you don't feel like you can tell anyone because you're like, I don't sound like an idiot.
And because you've got that, because they've got that hold over you, it's almost like Stockholm syndrome. You fall in love with your abuser.
You do.
You know the second that you tell someone that cares about you, it's game over.
Yeah.
You have to leave them.
Yeah.
Because the second I told my mum and dad what this person was doing to me, I couldn't go back from that really without them being at my house, checking in on me, not letting him around, and then the game changes. Yeah. It's out there then.
Yeah, exactly. That is so true.
That's why a lot of people keep it secret because they're so terrified of the person.
And what they're going to do, even to your family as well.
Yeah,
because I had my brother found out at a time, there was like an incident when we was out and he'd done something to me, and one of our friends, our close friends, was out and he'd see it all, and I remember saying to the friend, please don't tell my brother, what's happened, like, don't worry, like, I'm fine, don't tell my brother. And then a couple of days later, my brother turned up at this guy's house and I was there, like, kicking the door down, and he was like, let me in, and I just remember lying to my brother going, no, he didn't do that, like, and he was like, I'm not leaving until you come with me, and I literally stayed. And now looking back, I'm thinking, why did I do that? Because I thought I could change that person, and I was worried what he was going to do.
Yeah.
Even though my brother would have bloody killed him, I was just like, I literally.
And most of the time, these people that are making these threats are making you feel that way. They're bullies, and that's what they are.
Yeah.
Obviously, you do get to the
They'd
point
never
where
be able to have a fight with a man.
No.
Like literally, my brother would literally fucking killed him.
It's all scare tactics to keep you where they want you in this little bubble where they can just abuse you.
Yeah. So I had to do that as well with that one.
Horrible, isn't it? But I would absolutely recommend going to the police about anything like that. There's also a thing called Clare's Law, which I checked with him. Unfortunately, nobody had reported him prior. So
what's that? I've not heard of that.
So Clare's Law is it's basically about a girl called Claire, and she was murdered by an ex-boyfriend, boyfriend of hers. So what they did, they started this law where if you it's basically for domestic abusers. If you have been charged or have been reported for domestic abuse, any level of domestic abuse, like whether that's mental or physical, you get put on a list.
Yeah.
So what you do is you phone up Clare's Law or the police and you say, I want to check this name against Clare's Law. They have to come back with you with, yes, they are on it.
Yeah.
So yes, they have abused the person, and then I don't fuck with this person,
and
out of my life. And it's so good, but they have to be reported to be put on that list.
Right.
So if you get beaten up by your boyfriend and you never report it, they don't go on the list.
And 9
for
times
the
out
next
of 10,
girl.
these girls won't be reporting it.
No.
Like we've just said, you don't want to keep it a secret, don't you? You want to be like, I'm the one who's going to change it.
Exactly.
He's doing it because he loves me. Like, you believe the shit they tell you and you just keep going back.
It's awful.
And as well, I think physical abuse is obviously awful, but mental abuse is just as worse.
I think it's worse.
Yeah,
I do.
100%. It literally...
Like, as bad as it is to say, I would rather take a punch in the face any day over mental abuse.
Yeah,
I really would. Obviously, I'd rather take neither, and they're both really wrong, but I would take physical over mental. Mental abuse is life-changing.
Person completely.
Yeah.
From previous relationships I've had where I've had so much mental abuse, it's changed the one that I'm in today because it just makes you a shell of a person.
It does.
You think that person's going to think the same. Like it just.
And every single things that might not have been a red flag to you before, they now are. So now people would say I'm picky. I'm not.
Yeah,
I've got a lot of fucking
experience.
I've got a tick list. If you do one thing that this ex did, you'll trigger me back to that, and you're out the fucking door. I'm done with you.
Completely. That's why it's so hard. It's probably really so hard for you to meet any other guy.
It is. I don't
trust anyone.
I don't trust a single person. I don't feel
I don't fucking blame you.
Anybody has a good intention for me. My trust issues are through the fucking wall.
I don't blame you.
It's mad.
Yeah.
But when we asked everybody, have you been mentally abused? The stats were a lot higher. So we had 88% of people said that they had been mentally abused.
That does not surprise me.
And only 12% hadn't.
Those 12%. lucky fuckers.
They are. But they may not even realise that they've been mentally abused.
Exactly, you don't know.
It can be so small.
Yeah, something so small, like the way you look, what you're doing, or just anything, really. If it just makes you feel shit and it's putting you down, you know.
So the next one that we asked was, have you been in therapy after being in an abusive relationship? And it was 50-50 really. It was 54% of people have got therapy, 46% of people haven't. Therapy is very like, I think it's a lot more accepted now.
Yeah, it is now, but back in the day, only Americans
5 years. I mean, a lot of these people might be answering a
therapy.
question from 15, when they were a teenager, they was in a mentally or physically abusive relationship. To this day now, if they were to go in one, they might seek therapy, but they didn't back then. Like, so I think that is
very normal now. Though therapy,
so normal.
Definitely.
Like most people I know go to therapy.
Yeah, I've seen a therapist once about different things.
Only once.
Yeah,
that explains a lot. Abs.
Yeah, I
need to go back.
I literally do. I just always thought, like, why is a random person gonna, like, sitting down and telling your problems to a random person gonna help me?
Do you know what though? I've been to some shit ones and I've been to some good ones.
You'll have to let me know your therapist.
No, I can't find her. The one that got me out of this horrible relationship, I adored her. Like I owe her everything.
Well, don't keep her fucking secret.
I can't share. I tried to find her recently when I came back out of something quite similar, and she's vanished off the face of the earth.
She's probably thinking, fuck this.
I probably, my situation.
Thinking, oh my god, change of career. So
I found a different therapist, and I went to her, and it didn't help me at all. It was just I was basically giving her money to tell me things I already knew.
Yeah.
I didn't find her helpful at all. So it is about finding the right therapist for you as well. You might have to try a few. You may have been to one therapist and thought, this doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean all therapies won't work for you.
I think that was my problem. I just thought I didn't really gain anything from it, and I always think I can just sort myself out. I'll just read a self-help book and then I'll be fine.
Well, they're good as well. They
are good, but they're not really paid tellers, are they?
It takes
me like 6 months to get through one of them.
Does it?
Where a normal book, I'm like, I could read a normal book in like 3 days, but self-help books, though I've got so many, and
maybe you've got some barrier up about receiving help.
Yeah, I probably have.
Even from yourself.
I always think I'll do it myself. I can change myself. Like I've been obviously really low before, especially since having the kids. I was in really low, really depressed. Not from them, because obviously they're the best thing that's happened to me.
It's a natural thing to happen.
It's such a massive change from like to be a mum. And I always thought, I'm not going to go to doctors about it. I'll just I'll be okay myself. I'll change myself. I don't want any medication. And that's such a bad thing to say, because obviously now it's a good thing to go and talk about it, because there's so many people suffering with that.
And there's so much help. Like I've had another kind of therapy called CBT.
What are you going to say, CBT?
No, cognitive behavioural therapy, CBD.
Yeah.
And that is like, it's a therapy which switches your way of thinking to be different. So you basically reset yourself.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So it's like self-help, but also somebody else helping you. So I did that as well, and that's available on the NHS. If you refer yourself to get CBT therapy, you can get that on the NHS for free, and that's a really good tool. I carry that with me all the time now. I might look at something and feel away, and I use what I learned in CBD to kind of change the way my mind thinks about it, and I handle it differently.
Yeah.
So that's a really good therapy, and it's free on the NHS. So that's something like everybody should know about.
Love our NHS, even though it's suffering at the moment.
I don't have our NHS.
Well, no,
this is something we don't agree on.
Yeah, no, we don't.
I don't dislike doctors, nurses at all. Like, I think they do a great job. I don't like our country very much at the moment. I have not been able to get Penelope in to see a doctor, and I can't tell you why.
But when I just turned up today, I was on the phone. When I got to Emma's house earlier, I was on the phone to a doctor, and I've been waiting for that appointment for a year.
Yeah.
So I've
this
been
is what I mean. This annoys me.
And it was a phone call appointment. So I was meant to go to the hospital and have an appointment and see someone about these problems I've been having. And I've waited a year for the appointment. I got a letter through the door going, it'll be a telephone interview. I'm thinking, oh my God, I've had to wait a year for someone to call me for a 3 minute
And I see it so much. A lot of people I follow come in stories like, oh, finally got my appointment. 2 fucking years. Or they send you 3 letters. Here's your urgent appointment. It's in 2025.
Exactly. Like Harper's got an appointment as well.
It's
and hers is in 2024. It's like, what the hell? She's fucking 3 years old.
Yeah.
Well, she's 4 now. I keep forgetting.
It's crazy. So yeah, I mean, that was the polls that we did and the bit of feedback that we kind of got on toxic relationships. But I think toxic relationships, they don't just stop at being a boyfriend or a girlfriend who's toxic. Like,
no, definitely
friendships,
not. Friendships, even families can be toxic.
I mean, I will say right now, my relationship with my biological dad is toxic. It's been toxic as fuck my whole life, and it's damaged me so much.
Do you think that is a part of why you've got yourself into toxic relationships?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Daddy
They
issues.
say daddy issues.
Yeah.
But I have got fucking daddy
Yeah,
issues.
of course.
I've had my stepdad raise me since I can remember, and he has done the most amazing job, and he is my dad. If I ever say my dad, like, I'm talking about him.
Because I've always thought he was your dad.
Everyone does. I've even had people say, you look like each other. I'm like, no, I don't.
I always thought since I've known you that was your dad.
Everyone does.
Yeah, because you have such a good relationship.
Yeah, he's incredible. And if I ever talk about my real dad, I say my real dad.
Yeah.
But on and off my whole life, like, I've seen him be nasty to my mum, abusive towards my mum. He's dropped me and my sister. I've been in and out of our lives. And I've definitely got daddy issues. Because I grew up wondering, like, why does this man not love me enough? Why am I not enough for him? It was always picking up, like, women over us, like, his partners were often jealous of us, like.
Oh my god.
And now I've not spoken to him in, I think it's coming up 2 years now.
What, not at all? No contact at all?
No, and it's a really horrible situation because it's a lot to do. I mean, it's him as a person, but you know, his new wife and that situation has got a lot to do with it.
With new family.
Don't get on with her, and I made it clear to him I don't want her in mine or my daughter's life anymore, but I still want a relationship with you, you're my dad.
Yeah.
And then he just cut us off and we haven't spoken to him in 2 years. So that is really toxic for me, and that's
course.
something like I have spoken about in therapy before, and I probably need further therapy on because it definitely has fucked
triggered
my.
without you know him as well.
It's fucked me in all my relationships I've been in. I'm always trying to make myself like worthy, and like they'll love me if I do this, and I think that all stems from not feeling loved by him.
Yeah.
So I like crave to be liked, to be loved, and I think everybody hates me. Nobody likes me, nobody loves me. So I try so hard.
Figure in your life.
Yeah.
Who's obviously done this.
Yeah. So I end up overcompensating for lots of things and being like an over-trier.
Yeah.
Because of that relationship, what that done to me. And it's crazy because I look at my daughter now and like, obviously I'm now a parent and I think, how could any parent
walk out on their children?
Yeah, not be around for their kid, not feel let their kid feel loved.
I think that all
also like he tries to like play the card on like, well, you're an adult, like, you know, you should be making an effort. That's what
you're my dad.
It's a 50-50 street.
Yeah,
if the relationship's good, like we both do things for each other, but it's his job. It's his job as my parent who brought me into this world to fucking love me and make me feel wanted and make me feel enough. And he never has. So yeah, like that's an example of a very toxic family relationship. I mean, the rest of my family I've got good relationships with, but it's just him. Do you have any toxic like? Family members.
Well, I don't get on with one of my brothers at the moment, but I think that's just at the moment, literally. But no, I've been brought up from an amazing family. I love my family. Like I've got a dad who's extremely strict and 2 older brothers. So growing up wasn't easy. Like I was never really allowed, like completely whipped. Literally, I was always the one who got dragged home if my brothers see me out with my friends. Like, what the fuck are you doing out? Like I was always the one who had to stay in. And at the time I'd be like, oh my god, it's so unfair, my life's so unfair, I can't go out and do this because I've got 2 older brothers and a strict dad. And like my mum, bless her, didn't have any chance to like butt in because she was like living in the same situation as me. Yeah. But now I'm older, I do appreciate what they did. Like there are situations that my friends at the time were in and I obviously wasn't in them because I was being told to go home. So now I do appreciate that, but at the time it was like, oh my god, I fucking
You just feel so hard done by.
Yeah, literally, but now I've been.
But that doesn't feel like toxic, that feels like they're being protective.
Yeah, they're just really overprotective.
Maybe a bit extra,
but
like
now
you could have been given a bit of slack.
Yeah, but I'm glad now. I'm glad that they was like that because it's made me who I am. I'm glad, I don't want Harper and Fia's dad to be as hard on my girls. Yeah. But obviously it's hard. It's hard with girls. Girls are bloody hard work.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So yeah, we've both got girls. So 3 girls between us.
That's wild, isn't it?
Oh my god, they are hard work.
They are hard
So yeah,
work.
I wouldn't say I've been in any toxic family. I wouldn't say that. I've got an amazing family.
But you've been with toxic partners.
Yeah, toxic partners, definitely. I'd say all of my relationships, bar 2, have been extremely toxic.
And in what way? Like all physical or mental?
So mainly, I had one my worst, well, like I said to you earlier, the one about to go to police and like, that's how that ended. That was the worst. So that was physical, mental, emotional, everything. Like, he used to lock me in his room so I couldn't go out. He used to, like, I'll probably go into it in detail in another pod, but yeah, that was physical and mental. And then all the others I'd say were just like mental.
Yeah.
And then the one relationship that I've been in that wasn't, I would say wasn't toxic, was the one guy that cheated on me. So it turned out.
I know who that is. Do I know who the physical one was?
Yeah, I think you must do. You must do. And it's, you know what, it's so weird because we all live in this small town.
Whisper it to me. Fuck off!
Yeah, he was an absolute prick.
No!
Yeah. Oh my god, I'll tell you, the stuff he did, honestly. He literally shaped how I am in every relationship now. If I'm like a shit girlfriend, it come from him. Like, honestly, I can't even say his name.
Oh, what a pig!
But then I didn't, so I got the police involved, and then I never see him again. I thought, I'm going to bump into him and I'm out. Never, ever, ever see him again. And then he messaged me on Facebook like 2 years after going, I'm really sorry for what I did.
Fuck off, you scumbag.
And then I see him, because we share a lot of the same friends still, mutual friends. And I see him at someone's surprise 40th a few years ago. And he was there and I was like, fuck. I've not seen him in like 7, 8 years. And he was there and he literally had his head down and he come over to me. He's like, I'm really sorry. I'm in therapy. I'm changing this, that. And I was just literally like, fuck off.
He slid in my DMs a couple of times. I've never responded to him. It must be my intuition.
Yeah, he was the worst.
He's not even good looking.
I know, he was the worst. He was the worst. He literally, and that was, I think I was only like 20 at the time. I think I was like 20. Because I remember I spent my 21st birthday locked in his bedroom. And I remember lying to all my friends thinking, yeah, I'm just going to spend the night in with him. And I literally spent the night locked in his bedroom when he went out DJing.
I've been locked in my bedroom
before.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it was him.
I literally got locked in my bedroom once before as well.
Fucking arseholes.
Not all of you.
No, not all of you.
The ones that we're referencing to, they are fucking arseholes.
And not all men, like a lot of people say all men are narcissists. They're not. They're not. There's a knobhead.
There's a lot of women are narcissists.
Yeah, of course. And narcissist is an actual disorder.
Yeah.
Like you actually.
It's like one-off associate have. It's
literally,
like actual problem.
Like it's an actual problem that they need help with.
Yeah,
or you just get somebody who's an actual disorder.
It's not just somebody who's nasty. Like if you're just nasty, you can control that. Narcissism
is an actual.
It's actually something.
Half the time they don't know they're doing it.
No, it's part of who they are. It is part of who they are.
Yeah. So I've been with a lot of people like that. But.
Wow, that's a revelation for me.
I was so surprised how many people said the same. They've been in toxic relationships.
So many people.
Yeah, literally.
Do you know, with doing my job, the girls that come in and out of my door, I would say 90% of my clients, I've had conversations where they feel either in abusive relationships or they've been in.
Yeah.
And there's a few, like while I've been in abusive relationships, we were going through the same thing. We were on like a journey.
Yeah.
And we've all come out of it. But I still have some friends now who are in toxic relationships and they're just trying to like coast with it, like going from a really bad scale to like not really, like maybe yours is like a higher end, better end scale. Like you all say it's toxic, but it's not like a abusive toxic.
Yeah, so it's just
a bit like you've got things to work on.
Yeah, but we've not had it easy from the start. Me and my partner. You obviously know. Like a lot of people don't know, but I might go into it in deeper detail in the future. But when we first met, we were together 6 months, and he went away for 2.5 years. And I waited for him for 2.5 years. We didn't see each other. I just see him every Sunday for an hour.
I went away to prison.
Yeah, for like 2.5 years. And I remember when I first met him, I was thinking, oh, I'm not like he told me.
And was you pregnant at this, or had you
No,
not
I
had
wasn't
any babies?
pregnant. No babies. We had no babies. As soon as we met, like we spoke about babies, which is now looking back is like what the hell. But yeah, no babies, completely baby free. And then he went away for a while. I stuck by him, stayed like literally just. I changed as a person then as well. Like I lost a lot of friends in that time because a lot of people couldn't understand why I was waiting around for someone who'd gone away.
Why is it so hard for people to accept and
I loved it, and I honestly think, looking back, if someone had told me you're going to do that, I'd been like, fuck off, I'm not going to wait for some guy who's going to go away for 2.5 years. No way, but I did. And I just changed, and I think I changed it as better, I'd say. And then as soon as he come home, obviously I was super fertile because I'd come off the pill. I didn't have sex for 2.5 years. Literally within 3 weeks I fell pregnant. We was like,
born again virgin.
And we obviously spoke about having babies, how we both wanted to, but I don't think either of us knew it was happening that quick.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, shit, I'm fucking pregnant. He was like, oh my god, really? It's like, yeah, he'd been home for like probably 3 weeks, and then that was it.
Well, he must have had super sperm then. At least
you know
he
has
get
got
up to
fucking
anything
super
with
sperm.
dodgy in the prison because he came out with a full load.
He has got super sperm because our second baby wasn't planned at all, and yeah, he must have fucking super sperm.
He must.
Yeah.
He must.
And I was just super fucking fertile, which is obviously amazing. So, yeah.
That is amazing. Well done, you.
Thank you.
Have some more. Pop a few more out.
You know what I do? I've always said I want 3. And then Thea come along, bless her, my second, and now I'm like, oh, when people ask me, are you going to have another one? I'm like, oh, no, oh my God.
I'm one and done.
I just don't sleep. I don't sleep. It's just the second child syndrome. She is fully that child. Like, I would love another one. I would love to give my partner a boy. Obviously, you can't pick and choose. You can't pick, but I would love another one myself. I wouldn't mind another girl. girls are hard work, but obviously as long as the baby's healthy and happy, like I wouldn't mind. But I do feel bad on him. Like he does really want a boy. He does. He says it all the time. He's like, when are you gonna give me a boy? It's like, well, I can't fucking pick, can I? I can't be like, it's gonna be a boy this time.
Well, you can pay to go into a clinic
yeah.
You know what?
When I was younger, when I heard about that, I used to think, no, as if people do that. But now I'm older and I've got 2 girls. I wouldn't write off the idea. Obviously, I haven't got the money to do it. But if you really want a boy, like I wouldn't write the idea off.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No, I do think it doesn't matter what you have, as long as the child is healthy and happy. That is obviously the main thing. But like, I would love to give him a boy because he's definitely outnumbered.
Yeah.
And like,
it might like level your house.
Yeah, but then he's just got another puppy and he's got a girl. Like, he should have got another boy dog. So
right, let's get back to toxic relationships, because we are derailing. People probably listening thinking, this is not what I tuned in for.
Yeah,
fucking babies and dogs.
Babies, dogs, and a little bit of marriage.
That's a toxic relationship in itself.
I know. That, when I say
children.
Yeah, that, literally. Anyway, back to it.
So, I mean, I've spoken a little bit about the abusive, like physically relationships that I've been in, but a lot of my relationships have been mentally abusive as well, like controlling.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever been in a relationship and they've like controlled your money and what you've worn, like told you what you can wear, who you can be friends with, and where you can go?
Not money, but definitely what I can wear. They definitely pick friends, and they don't want you to think they're doing it. So like, that person said this about you, or you shouldn't be friends with that person.
Or like, that girl's a slag, and
you
look like a slag.
Constantly. I've had that so many times. I've had that so many times. Like, why would you hang around with her? Like, she's this, she's that. Like, you'll get the same name if you hang around with that person. I've had that in so many situations, and that is controlling.
Of course,
obviously, a lot of people wouldn't think that is.
No,
that is controlling.
Because they try and make you think they're doing it in a nice way. Like, I don't want you to look like a slag.
Yeah, of course, and you'd be like,
I don't care about you're not like that, so don't hang around.
Yeah, and it's always a single friend that they say it to.
Yeah, because they don't
want you to go out with a single friend and meet someone else. But I have not with money. Mainly with friends and like clothes and what to wear and what are you wearing and things like that. Like, put me down for the stuff I'm wearing.
I've had guys say it in like a sly way. Like, one of my relationships, he would never say to me like, you look horrible, but he would make like little digs, and it would be like taking the piss out of me.
Yeah.
Like saying like, hey, when are you gonna, like, if I was wearing like t-shirts a lot, like, when are you gonna start dressing like a girl again?
Yeah.
Just like a sly little dig to put me down about what I'm wearing.
So you're constantly thinking about it.
Yeah. So then I was like, God, do I not look like a girl? Like, do you not think I'm? And then it leads on, do you not like think I'm pretty and all bits like that? But they do it in a. And
then when you go wear a t-shirt again, you're like, oh, should I actually wear this?
Yeah, and then you start questioning what you're wearing and what you're doing. I've definitely had guys try to select who I'm friends with, and like you said, it's always my single friends and my friends who are quite outspoken and like ones that they know. If they had an inkling into what was going on, they'd shut it down or like they'd say something. So it's always friends who they're intimidated by, that they don't like, and they slag off. I don't know if I've ever been controlled with my money. I mean, I feel like there's one situation where it was slightly controlling, but not having hold of my money, but kind of like making me. I've always earned more than pretty much every guy I've been with. Like, pretty much, I'd say maybe bar one when I was a lot younger and I wasn't earning great money. And a guy I saw recently, he had money. But everyone else, like, I've always been the breadwinner.
Yeah.
And men don't like that.
Yeah.
Generally, they don't like that.
It's so old school, isn't it? The man should earn money.
And like, if we're out for dinners and stuff, like, I'm always happy to be like, I'll get this one, or like, I'll pop to the shop and I'll get this, I'll get that. Like, I think that's just like something that's inside of me. I try to like overcompensate with being independent. Like, no one has to do anything for me, kind of thing. So I think a lot of my past relationships that have been toxic, they haven't liked that I've been independent with my own money.
Yeah.
And they've like tried to make me feel a way about how much I earn. Because it makes it like
it makes them look more masculine.
Yeah.
Because they should be the one earning more money.
Yeah, and it's just not the case. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've not really had that. I had, in one relationship, I had a guy lie about money. So we lived together, and so every month we'd pay half the rent each, and obviously half the bills each, but I would have to give him the money. So he would pay it out of his account. The house at the time we was renting was in his name. So I was, every month would give him the money, and then all of a sudden one day when he was at work, there was a knock at the door and it was bailiffs. I was like, what?
He wasn't paying it?
No, he wasn't paying it. He was spending all the money on drugs.
Yeah, that's
literally, you know who that one is as well.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, honestly. And I had no clue. Because like, if anyone was to look at him, he'd be like a straight, normal, like, good guy. But he all the cash I'd give him every month, obviously wasn't going in his bank, he was spending it on bloody whatever, God knows what. So yeah, the bailiff's not, and obviously pretty much everything in that house was mine. So I was like, what? Literally, and that is one of the reasons why our relationship broke down, because it was just, after that night, I just, all these other lies, it was just like all these other
things. That's a big lie as well.
Yeah, I remember my mum was with me at the day and she was like, I think bailiff's at the door.
That's actually stealing.
I was just like, what? Where's bailiff's at the door? And then yeah, that's what it was, like he wasn't paying the rent.
Well, I've had something similar to that, like not where it wasn't being paid, but I went 50-50 with this person on everything.
Yeah. Did you give them the money?
No, I can't remember. I think I might have done. But that didn't make me feel any kind of way if I did, because I'd remember that.
Yeah.
So I would pay 50-50 on all of the bills, all of the rent, everything, but the name was in his house.
Yeah.
Most of the belongings in the house were mine, because they'd come from my previous home where we'd upsized and I'd bought all my stuff. Some of the stuff we'd gone halves on, but most of the things in the house, they were my belongings. And then, this is going to bloody give away who I'm talking about now. I went on to have Penelope, and I had to return to work after 5 days after giving birth, because there was no leeway in the 50-50. There wasn't, I've got you for a couple of months.
5 days?
5 days. It was the most horriblest thing I've ever done. I was sat doing lashes, sobbing. My fucking vagina was on fire.
And your emotions
I was in agony, and I just yearned to be with my baby, and even if it was only a couple of hours here and there, like I was sobbing, like I was just like, I just need to be back with her.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I had to go back to work after 5 days, because there was no, I've got you for 2 or 3 months, like even 20/80, like it's still 50-50. I'm not covering you, like.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, okay. So I went back to work after 5 days.
And obviously you're self-employed.
Self-employed, so I didn't get maternity or anything like that. Yeah, I went back after 5 days, so I could foot my half of the bill, and shortly after that, when I did leave that relationship, me and my daughter were actually homeless, because it wasn't my name.
And she was newborn?
5 months old.
Wow.
My name wasn't on the house, although I paid for half and it had my life inside of it. The threat was, get the fuck out of my house, this is not your house, leave. So I did. That happened twice, and the second time I said, you're not controlling me like that, like, I will leave. So I did, and we were homeless. We were put in temporary accommodation where we were for almost a year, like sharing a bedroom. But I don't know if at the time I would have seen that as controlling.
Yeah, no.
But looking back, it's absolutely
sometimes
controlling.
You have to get yourself out of the situation to have another set of eyes on it and look back and think, shit,
that was so
that
controlling.
was happening to me.
But I should have sat there and said, I've just fucking
had your baby to your baby.
My body is in bits. I'm in recovery. I'm emotional. My baby needs me. I need my baby. Like,
their baby needs
go be a man and pay the fucking rent for us for 2 months while I recover.
And look after our fucking baby.
But it wasn't.
Did you have a natural birth?
Yeah, natural birth.
I was going to say,
we need to do an episode on birth stories, because
definitely, because I've had completely different.
And I think the thing people don't talk about as well is the 4th trimester. After you've had that baby and you come home, the suffering that your body goes through, your emotions, and how you deal with life after that. Not a lot of people talk about that. It's all about pregnancy, and then you just go on to
and you've got this beautiful baby and you're going to be so happy, and that's what you think it is, but it's completely not that, and no one talks about that.
No, they don't.
Like I said to you earlier, it's taken me pretty much 4 years, so Harper's just had 4, to like try and figure out who I like am. The emotion, and still now sometimes I get emotional, like I wing the fuck out of being a mum. I Google everything. I'm literally like, I cannot believe we're all still alive. Like, I'm proud of myself for
Definitely.
that.
Well, as an example, like Penelope was 3 weeks early and she was 4 pounds, like she was tiny.
Wow.
And I had to stay in hospital for 24 hours, but when I did
she was 4 weeks early.
3 weeks
3
early.
weeks early.
And 4 pounds.
And 4 pounds. See, Harper was 4 weeks early and she was nearly £9.
Fuck off. They got the dates wrong there, that's not right.
Honest to God.
But we came out, they finally let us go home, but they said because she's so small, you have to keep her warm at all times. So I was like, got it, keep her warm, don't let her get cold, keep her warm. Took her home, this was in July 2019, it was the fucking, I've never felt heat like it. I got her home and I was like, well, how do I keep her cool?
Yeah.
If I'm keeping her warm, I've got to keep her warm. How do I keep her hot, but and cold at the same time? Like, she's going to fucking suffocate. She's going to die of overheating. Like, she's going to have a convulsion. So, like, no one tells you how to look after a baby.
Like, here's a beautiful
something
baby.
as simple as,
good luck.
How do I keep my baby cold whilst keeping her warm? I was like, fuck. Yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, that is a whole other topic.
Yeah, we will go into that.
Yeah. So I think, with toxic relationships, I think we've covered quite a lot, but I think it'd be really interesting to get some feedback
to
on
hear
this
from you
one.
guys what you want to hear more in depth, because we obviously just did a poll of who's been in a toxic relationship, but we want to know as well, what do you guys think is a toxic relationship? Because obviously a lot of people
what do you think is a
different.
toxic relationship? If anybody's like wants to talk to us confidentially about your story that we could then sort of read but talk about further, that would be really interesting and helpful for us.
We've got our fair share, but I definitely.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I would sort of leave this on is therapy and counselling is amazing. It does work if you find the right one. And I'm glad you mentioned that on here. I'm glad you mentioned that, because a lot of people don't talk about that. No.
Like, I'm that person. I would be like, I think I'd be not embarrassed, but I wouldn't want people think that I'll go to therapy. They'll be like, what?
It's got such a stigma to
it. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? But nowadays you have to talk about things like that.
I think it's going to help you. Amazing if you go to therapy.
And so many more people are doing it now because. But,
mental health is spoken about a lot more.
So much more. Like when we were younger, I was called the worrier in my family because obviously anxiety was not around.
Yeah.
When I had my phone call earlier with my doctor, I was saying how I'm really anxious. I suffer really bad anxiety. But when I was younger, my mum would just be like, "Oh, you're the worrier. You're worrier."
Same. And I was a hypochondriac as well. Like everything, you overthink everything. But actually, I just have probably suffered anxiety my whole life.
Back then, it wasn't spoken about. But so I'm so glad that times are changing now, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. So I think therapy is great. I mean, also talking to somebody you trust. I know it might sound stupid, but we are always open ears for stuff like that. You know, I'm good at keeping
my
secrets.
My inbox is always open. I'm good at keeping secrets.
If anybody's listened to this and felt triggered or feels like they want to talk to us about anything that we've sort of brought up, then please do. Don't feel like you can't.
Definitely.
Cool. Yeah. So I think that's a wrap for toxic relationships for now.
But we'll definitely go into that again in more detail on let us know what you want us to go into more detail on
in regards to that sort of subject.
Cool.
Yes, I think that's about it from us for today. Thank you for listening again.
And we'll see you next week.
And hopefully we'll just get better and better with each episode.
Yeah, we need to know your feedback as well. So any feedback is good. So let us know, because I've been so nervous, and I know that I talk so loud, and I know that I over talk. We do need to like that. And my swearing as well, but that's just me. I cannot catch that.
I can't stop swearing, and I've been told by people, stop swearing. I'm like,
I should really, because I'm a fucking mum, but I just can't. Like even like my dad's always swore at me. Like sometimes my mum's like, oh my god, don't say that word. I just fucking can't stop.
No, I can't.
So apologies for the swearing, but if you want a podcast
that's real. Yeah. If you don't want to hear swearing,
this is the wrong
perhaps
podcast.
Look somewhere else.
But let us know your feedback. Let us know your thoughts on another topic, another subject, and we shall see you next week.
We will. Thank you.
Thank you.